Some detail for a good mental image. I live in a massive subdivision that surrounds a bunch of woods affectionately referred to as the trails. I suppose the people who own it left it untouched in case they wanted to add more streets. Anyway, I live down the street from one of the main entrances that most people use and know of. My friends and I were a resilient bunch who liked to go out there and have fires, get drunk, and smoke a little, if you know what I mean. So, considering we were out there so much, we decided we were going to build ourselves a little hideout or fort of sorts where we could party and even camp. We ended up with a good small clearing off of one of the winding paths where we had to set up a good-sized lean-to with some evergreen on top as our roof and named it Bear Cave. Now for the incident in question. This happened back when I was around 17 or 19 years old. I had just gotten off work and had gone to grab some fast food. My friends had called me earlier, letting me know we were going to meet at Bear Cave. So after I got home, I changed into some warmer clothes, as this was during late fall to early winter, and it had been unusually cold that night. I decided I should get out there as soon as possible, and decided to take my food with me and eat there. Now, it's about 8:30 and the moon was barely visible through the trees, but knowing the trail like the back of my hand, I wasn't worried and assumed they would already have a fire started. As I approached, I walked up to our hidden entrance and saw there was no fire, and I couldn't hear any sounds. I took my phone out and texted one of them asking where they were. They replied something along the lines of, "Sorry man, we're gonna be about 15 minutes. Great, I thought to myself. I ducked in and started trying to scrape together some wood and kindling and get something started. Unfortunately, everything was wet and without a proper flashlight, this was before they were standard on phones, I couldn't get into the brush and dig anything up. Soon after, I decided I might as well eat and hurriedly scarfed down my 2 burgers. Before I knew it, I'd been sitting out there for about 20 minutes and there was still no sign of anyone. I tried giving a couple of them a call, and after 5 minutes with no call back, I texted them. Still no response. At this point, I was about fed up, and my phone was about to die, so I made a mental note. 10 more minutes and I'm gone. At this point, I squatted down, holding my knees to my chest and tried getting warm. My back was to our little hut at the back of the site. I thought I heard something behind me, a slight crunch. I looked over my shoulder and from behind the shelter, I saw what looked like 2 beady eyes glinting from the little moonlight entering through the trees. I quickly and quietly turned my full body to face it. At this point, I felt as though I was about to throw up or shit myself. But keeping my mind about myself, I slowly reached to my right, where I had laid a stick just in case something like this were to happen. If this was a dog, it was big. And let me just clarify, this wasn't a wolf as I live in the south and coyotes don't get this big. Something wasn't right. It just stared, unblinking, as if through me, and made no sound whatsoever. I realized that whatever this was, it wanted to come at me. Thinking fast, I decided it was in my best interest to throw this thing off guard. I tossed the stick and, without seeing whether or not it made contact, turned and ran swiftly out of the entrance, expertly placing my feet in all the safe places through the trail, assuring I wouldn't trip while maintaining max speed. I didn't stop until I saw streetlights and was safely on the road. At about this time, I see my friends pulling up, and I told them that I saw something. They didn't seem too interested and tried to go out. I told them sternly no, and suggested we just go to my house. This seemed suitable to them, and so we went. I'm still not quite sure what I saw out there, and it was as though everyone forgot about it. I continued to go back out there, but only during the day, or if at night, only when accompanied by a friend. But I don't think I'll ever forget those unwavering eyes.
It was a normal day, almost like any other. I was spending the day with my grandmother. I was 10 at the time and enjoyed getting out of the house and spending one-on-one time with her. My mother was very poor, and I was a middle child with 2 brothers. I never had alone time other than with my grandmother from time to time. I relished alone time with my grandmother because she would spoil me with letting me get a soda every time we went out to town. This was a little treat my mother would never let me have. I am very pale, a female with jet black hair. My mother is Irish and my father is Cherokee Indian. I always have received comments growing up how my dark hair and eyes pop with my pale Irish skin tone. I was very tiny at that age and petite. My grandmother would always hand me money for gas, then $1 for a soda. I had been into several gas stations before. I always felt important telling the cashier what pump we were at, buying my own soda like a big kid. As I was rushing to get in that day, I had a weird feeling. My grandmother gave me the usual money to give the cashier and was chatting on her phone while I ran in. Till this day, I don't know what it was that alerted me. There was this Hispanic man that was standing at the corner of the entrance. He looked really dirty and I thought he might be homeless. He had old faded jeans on with what looked like some type of black oil on them. His shirt was halfway tucked in and I remember the buttons were mismatched. I stuck my money in my pocket. I'm from the city and was not that ignorant of society. As I was passing by, he smiled at me and I said something in Spanish and held his hand out. I was confused and looked around to see if he was talking to me. When I looked back up, he was in front of me trying to grab my arm and pull me around the building. I threw my arms up in the air and had a mini wrestling match. I was scared and my heart felt like it was going to jump out of my chest. As I was calling for my grandmother, she realized what was happening and threw her phone down that she had been talking on and screamed at me to run. As she was coming after me, I pushed him back and ran. As I was running toward anything but him, I saw a big van pull up. It had paint splatters all over it and duct tape all over the window, and there was several Hispanic men sitting inside of it. The original man by the door tried one more time to get me, and I could feel his fingers trace the back of my shirt. My grandmother was half sprinting, hobbling at her old age, but hobbling fast even for her age, towards me, and he must have realized it wouldn't happen. He jumped in the van and I made it to the front store without my grandmother there. I was so scared. My grandmother was freaked out and never let me walk into a gas station again by myself. Every unknown gas station I pull up to, I always think about it and what could have happened if I didn't try to defend myself or would have been gullible enough to venture to the corner where he was out of curiosity. Going into Walmart, I would always see posters of young girls missing with the caption, "Have you seen me?" It makes me wonder if there could have been just a slight shift that day to the events, if I would have been one of them. Creepy gas station guy, let's not meet.